What's up everybody? I've been messing with the idea of doing a hot take video. Mass Effect is one of those series that's been out for a long time now, and over time, fans have developed strong opinions about things from within the games. So I thought this would be a perfect video to do. This video will serve as a trial run, so if y'all like the video, make sure to support it. If I see that y'all are vibing with this, then we may do more of them. Alright, let's start it off with this one. Perfect Destroy is the canon ending, all others are fabrications. With the way Mass Effect 3 plays out, I would say that yeah, it is the canon ending. If I was Shepard, I would do the same thing. I believe if they went with the dark energy ending instead of the AI ending, Control would make more sense. But I do think that Synthesis makes more sense with the current ending, Organics and Synthetics becoming one. But it's not a good long-term plan because the Reapers are still around, and there's no telling as to how they'll play into things in the future. So the Star Child and the Reapers could actually win through this option. A hot take I have is that the Citadel DLC would have been better without a Shepard clone. Don't get me wrong, the DLC itself is amazing, but not once was a clone ever confirmed or even implied in Mass Effect 2. And no, that conversation with Jacob doesn't count. I actually had to sit and think about this one, and well, I can see where you're coming from. I would say that Brooks is the true villain of the DLC over the clone, but having the clone there and having Brooks pull their strings really shows off her manipulative nature. And the clone did have a plausible reason for what they were doing as far as getting rid of the original Shepard, even though that plan wouldn't have worked for long anyway because they would have been found out at some point. But if need be, I think Brooks could have carried being the sole villain of the DLC. Now as far as the clone's conception itself, it does come out of nowhere, but it would be something that Cerberus would do, you know, in case they needed a contingency plan for Shepard. Cerberus is bigger than what we actually can see of them, so things like that tend to stay hidden. Thinking about it that way made it a bit easier to accept. That on top of just having a lot of fun with the DLC, but who knows when they decided to pull the trigger on this idea either. So I agree that the DLC could have worked without the clone, but I don't think its inclusion hurts anything either. I think that initial shock is worth it. Liara is extremely overrated. She was pretty much a plot device in Mass Effect 1 who was only there to locate Ilos. Then she became a completely different character in Mass Effect 2. On top of that, it's very obvious that she's the writer's intended romance and favorite character, considering the fact that she saved Shepard before 2 and really gets close to them during 3. Now this is a hot take. I can't say Liara is overrated, but you do make some good points. Liara's character was more one-note in Mass Effect 1, and true, the developers were heavy-handed with their intentions of making Liara the intended romance for Shepard. In Mass Effect 3 you see her everywhere, so I agree it was heavy-handed. But if you cut out the romance, Liara held it down for us in that game too. On top of saving us in Mass Effect 2, she was trying to find a way to deal with the Reapers when we were locked up, and she was acting as our second command in that game as well. She got shit done. Her role in 3 tends to put her high in the Mass Effect hierarchy for me, despite her limited role in 2. Although it was strange to see the contrast in her personality. She turned into a bad motherfucker in Mass Effect 2. The Shadow Broker and working on Ilium toughened her up. She was standing on straight business. Tali is far more prejudiced and racist than Ashley. Tali wanted to condemn an entire sentient race to death. Ashley was only mad that the Turians launched an unprovoked attack on humanity, and due to politics, were allowed to watch a full-scale war against humanity. There is no one who played all 3 Mass Effect games that could say Ashley didn't soften her position on aliens. Tali, up until the Geth were about to destroy her people for their own stupidity, had not changed. Yet somehow Ashley, who's honest and open-minded, gets the vitriol, not the proven bigot Tali. You do have a point. The way Tali and the Quarians are in general towards the Geth is something to note. I do think that Tali and the Quarians' position towards the Geth is a bit more nuanced than Ashley and humanity's position towards the Turians. The Quarian and Geth beef comes from centuries of resentment and hatred. It's inborn. But it's hard to feel bad for the Quarians because the reason they're nomadic come Mass Effect 1 is their own fault. They created the Geth for labor reasons, kept upgrading their neural network until the Geth slowly started evolving into AIs, freaked out then ordered martial law, attempting to eliminate all the Geth to avoid a potential uprising. Anyone trying to protect the Geth got dealt with. Eventually the Geth did revolt and whooped the Quarians' ass. Billions of them got killed, and for their own carelessness, they lost their embassy on the Citadel, you know, just to twist the knife in deeper. In Mass Effect 3, yeah, they did something stupid by attacking the Geth, which caused the Geth to make a deal with the Reapers, like what y'all did. It almost got them wiped out. Again. There was a treaty in place prohibiting anyone from attacking the Geth. So I mean, if they got wiped out, they only got themselves to blame. Like, I know y'all missed y'all homeworld, but if Shepard wasn't there to straighten things out, y'all race would have been extinct. Now, what I will say about Tally's position is that it changes slightly after Mass Effect 2, if you make her play nice with Legion. She will ponder peace with the Geth, align more with Admiral Chorus's way of thinking. However, she still feels an obligation to her people, and it seemed like things were leading towards war anyway, and even as an Admiral, I don't think she could stop it. Now, as far as Ashley, her position does change as she gets used to being around more aliens. Her xenophobia was lingering from feelings from the First Contact War, which is understandable that there's resentment there, but I think what really separates these two scenarios are the payoffs of them. Humanity came out better from their war. The Quarians are banished from their own planet and ostracized on a societal and political level. But because this was their own fault, it's not a good look. Who knows, maybe if they didn't antagonize the Geth and tried to make peace with them before the Reapers got their hands on them, they might have had their planet back sooner, but bitterness ruined any chances of that. Ashley has one of the better romance arcs in the entire trilogy. I remember on my Mass Effect tier list video, I put the Ashley romance in the alright tier, because that relationship is one of highs and lows, but that may be why it's actually good. I think as a love story, Ashley and Shepard's relationship is pretty interesting. They got together, but about 6 months later, Shepard got killed. Shepard gets revived 2 years later. They meet again, where she finds out that Shepard is working for Cerberus, and that they've been rebuilt by them. Ashley refuses to go with Shepard. They break up. She doesn't trust Cerberus, and at the end of the day, she was right about that, but without Cerberus, we wouldn't have even got to Mass Effect 3. So Shepard did what they had to do. But in Mass Effect 3, they can reconnect and even get back together, but it takes a while for Ashley to get over her trust issues. The thing is that she never stopped loving Shepard, she just didn't think she could trust him, and that's completely understandable. A lack of trust hurts relationships, and getting over that fear of trust opens your heart up to accept that person, which is what eventually happens. So when you think about it like this, it's actually a pretty good story arc. Ash wears her heart on her sleeves, so it makes the moments between her and Shepard more emotional, at least to me. I do have one question for you guys though. Kaidan, what's the romance like with him in 3? I know that Ashley and Kaidan's relationship paths are similar, but in Mass Effect 3 the relationship is able to stand out a bit more, so what is his like compared to Ashley's? But this was an interesting take. Thane is a terrible assassin. I don't know about that. Thane was considered the best assassin in the galaxy. He went and got every last person that was involved in that. But that was prime Thane. Because of his Keppel syndrome, when we meet him in Mass Effect 2, he was probably about 80% of what he was. He could have gotten Asana without Shepard, but we did make it easier for him. And he's probably less than half of that come Mass Effect 3, because his Keppel syndrome had advanced that much. This fight scene with him and Kai Lang doesn't do him no favors either. But nah, I wouldn't call Thane a bad assassin. But as a father, well, that's a different story.
The darkest corner with the best view. I'm on Kira, Lord of Hunters. Grant that my hands be steady, my aim be true, and my feet swift. And should the worst come to pass, grant me forgiveness.
But that ends this video, guys. I want to thank you all for watching and sharing your hot takes with me. These were making me think, and I had a lot of fun reacting to them. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.
DJ Sonic 3.